The world doesn't stop for anyone. Not for traffic lights, not for bad news on the radio, and certainly not for Maya Wilson as she sat in her wheelchair, the left wheel squeaking with a forlorn rhythmic protest. It was a sound as familiar to her as her own heartbeat, a constant, humiliating companion to a life that had been irrevocably altered 2 years prior. A life she was still, desperately learning to navigate. Before you go any further, if you resonate with stories where the underdog fights back, where the universe somehow finds a way to balance the scales, then you need to subscribe and join our community. We live for these moments, and we have a feeling you're about to as well. Maya's world was a study in reduced horizons, where she once saw a sprawling campus at Beacon Heights University as a landscape of possibility. Late night study sessions, frat parties she'd pretend to be too cool for, the thrilling chaos of freshman year, she now saw a complex web of obstacles. A cracked pavement was a mountain range. A set of 3 steps leading to the library was an insurmountable cliff face. Her life was now measured in ramps, in the width of doorframes, in the pitying or averted glances of her former peers. Today, the obstacle was a simple, human one. She was out of gas. Her modified van, her chariot of reluctant independence, sat with a dead tank a mile from campus, forcing her to make the precarious journey to the nearest gas station on a route not designed for wheels like hers. Her hands, calloused and strong from the constant work of propulsion, ached. A fresh bandage was wrapped around her knee, a bloody testament to a fall she'd taken earlier in the week, when a wheel had caught on an uneven slab. A darker, purpling bruise bloomed on her thigh, hidden beneath her jeans. But the most telling sign of her distress wasn't a physical injury. It was the strip of medical tape she'd pressed over her own mouth. It was a desperate, silent tactic. When the world became too loud, when the anxiety felt like a scream building in her throat, the pressure of the tape was a physical anchor, a way to hold the chaos inside. To anyone else, it would look bizarre, alarming. To Maya, it was a shield. The gas station was an island of harsh fluorescent light in the creeping dusk of a Tuesday evening. It was a place of transience, of people just passing through. Maya felt that invisibility keenly as she maneuvered her chair toward the air and water station, needing a moment to collect herself before attempting the complex task of filling a portable gas can. She was just a girl in a chair, a piece of the scenery, unseen, until she was seen by the wrong person. The roar of a souped-up engine, all muffler and misplaced aggression, shattered the mundane sounds of the evening. A sleek, black Mustang swerved into the pump lane opposite her, music blaring. The driver's door swung open and out stepped Kyle Brennan. He was Beacon Heights royalty, at least in his own mind. His varsity jacket, a garish blue and yellow with a proud, stitched B on the chest, was his suit of armor. He was the star wide receiver, a guy whose life was a seemingly endless victory parade. His smile was a weapon, his charm a currency. But right now, his face was a mask of pure, unadulterated fury. He'd just gotten a text. He was being benched for the upcoming rivalry game. A minor injury, the coach said. A precaution. To Kyle, it was a public execution. He slammed his car door so hard the whole vehicle shuddered. He kicked a discarded plastic bottle, sending it skittering across the asphalt. His eyes, wild and searching for an outlet for his rage, landed on Maya. He saw the wheelchair. He saw the tape on her mouth. He saw the target that couldn't fight back, a silent receptacle for all his spoiled privilege and impotent anger. "What the hell are you looking at?" he snarled, stomping toward her. Maya flinched, her eyes widening above the tape. She tried to turn her chair, to create distance, but he was too fast. He moved in front of her, blocking her path. "You think this is funny?" He spat, his voice dripping with venom. "You sitting there all quiet? You judging me?" He leaned in, his face inches from hers. The smell of cheap cologne and aggression was suffocating. "You don't know me. You don't know what I'm going through." Maya shook her head, a frantic, panicked motion. Her hands came up in a placating gesture, but it only enraged him further. He saw it as pity. "Don't you shake your head at me!" he yelled. And with a sudden, vicious motion, he swiped his arm, knocking the portable gas can from the holder on her chair. It clattered to the ground, rolling away. A small, muffled sound escaped from behind Maya's tape. A whimper of fear, of helplessness. Tears welled in her eyes. This, for some twisted reason, was what pushed Kyle over the edge. The sight of her tears, her vulnerability, it was like a red flag to a bull. You think crying is going to help you? He mocked, his voice a cruel sneer. You're nothing. You're a nobody in a chair. The world doesn't care about your tears. He took another step, his eyes locking onto her bandaged knee. A cruel, ugly smile twisted his lips. Let me give you a real reason to cry. He drew back his leg mid-kick, his body coiled with the intention of driving his foot into her already injured knee. The world seemed to slow down for Maya. The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets. She could see the dirty tread on the bottom of his expensive sneaker. She could see the pure, unadulterated hatred in his eyes. This was it. This was the moment the world, which had already taken so much, was going to take a little more. She squeezed her eyes shut, bracing for the impact, for the shattering pain, but the impact never came. Instead, a new sound flooded the gas station, a sound so deep and powerful it seemed to vibrate in the very marrow of their bones. It started as a low, distant rumble, like approaching thunder. Then it grew, layering upon itself a symphony of roaring engines and the distinct, percussive chop of large displacement V-twins. It wasn't one motorcycle. It wasn't five. It was a rolling avalanche of steel and leather, pouring into the gas station from both entrances, surrounding the pumps in a wide, rumbling circle. Kyle froze, his foot still poised in the air. His angry expression melted into one of stunned confusion, then dawning fear. The kick was forgotten. Maya's eyes fluttered open. What she saw was beyond comprehension. 40 motorcycles, maybe more. Their riders were a vision of pure, untamed Americana. They wore leather vests adorned with a single, stark patch, a skull wearing a knight's helmet, with RAGURDAS arched above it and Nama Dis below. These weren't weekend warriors on shiny Harley Davidsons. These were men and women whose faces were etched with the stories of 1,000 miles of open road. They were grizzled, tattooed, and they had just encircled Kyle and Maya. The engines cut off, one by one. The sudden silence was more deafening than the roar had been. In that silence, the leader dismounted. He was a mountain of a man, his beard shot through with gray, his eyes hidden behind mirrored aviator sunglasses even in the fading light. His vest was covered in pins and patches, a tapestry of a life lived on the fringe. He didn't speak. He just started walking toward Kyle, his heavy boots making a soft, crunching sound on the gravel-strewn asphalt. Kyle finally lowered his foot, his bravado completely evaporated. He looked like a scared kid who'd just been caught stealing. Hey man, we're cool, he stammered, taking a step back. This is just out of misunderstanding. The biker, whose name was Jax, ignored him completely. He walked past Kyle as if he were a piece of garbage on the sidewalk and went straight to Maya. He knelt down in front of her wheelchair, his knees cracking with the motion. He was so large, so intimidating, yet his posture was one of pure deference. He slowly, carefully reached out a hand, his fingers thick and calloused, and gently peeled the tape from her mouth. It's okay, darlin', he said, his voice a low, gravelly rumble that was somehow soothing. You're safe now. No one's gonna hurt you. He looked at her, really looked